Welcome back to The Elderly Health Physician, the show where we bring you the wisdom of Korean medicine combined with the best of modern science to help you thrive after 60. I am your host, John, and if you have ever woken up in the middle of the night with your hand completely numb or felt that familiar buzzing, tingling sensation creeping into your fingers while you were just sitting still, today's episode is going to change the way you think about that feeling forever. Because what most people dismiss as just pins and needles is actually your nervous system sending you a very specific message. And if you know how to decode that message, you can do something about it right now. Not months from now, not after a surgery consultation, but in the next few minutes. Joining me, as always, is Korea's oldest practicing physician, Dr. Henry Lee. He has spent over 40 years treating seniors and studying the ancient principles of Korean medicine that have kept generations living strong into their 80s, their 90s, and beyond. Doctor, welcome back.
Thank you, John. I'm glad to be here. And yes, you framed it well. Hand numbness and tingling are among the most common complaints I hear from patients over 60. And the frustrating part is that most of them have been told to just wait and see, to live with it. That is not an answer, because in many cases, the solution is sitting right in your own hands, literally.
That is quite a promise, Doctor. But before we get to the tricks, I want to make sure our audience understands what is actually happening inside the body when the hand goes numb, because I think a lot of seniors assume it is just poor circulation and leave it at that.
That assumption is partially right, but only partially. What you're experiencing when the hand tingles or goes numb is called paresthesia. It is the sensation that results when a nerve is either compressed, irritated, or deprived of adequate blood flow. Now, after 60, several things happen simultaneously inside the body that make this far more common. First, the cervical vertebrae in the neck begin to show natural wear. The discs that cushion those vertebrae lose water content and compress slightly, and when those discs press on the nerve roots that travel down into the arms and hands, you feel it as tingling. Second, the peripheral nerves themselves slow down their conduction speed with age. Research published in the European Journal of Neurology tracked nerve conduction velocity in adults aged 60 to 80 and found that signal speed decreases by roughly 1 to 2 meters per second per decade after middle age. That means the signal your brain sends to your fingertip arrives a little late, a little distorted, and that distortion feels like numbness. Third, circulation to the smallest capillaries in the fingers reduces as arterial elasticity decreases. The hands are literally farther from the heart than almost any other tissue in the body.
So it's not one thing, it's several things converging at once, which explains why so many seniors feel like the problem came out of nowhere, when in reality the body had been quietly building toward it for years.
Exactly. And that is what makes it so common after 60. But it is also what makes it treatable without surgery, without injections, without medications, because if you address even one of those three mechanisms, you feel the difference. In this episode, we're going to walk through 4 things. The first is a nerve technique you can do in under 2 minutes that physically moves the median nerve through the carpal tunnel and restores signal transmission almost immediately. The second involves something almost no one does with water. The third is a nutritional connection that Korean medicine identified centuries before Western medicine caught up. And the fourth is a postural correction so simple you'll wonder why no one ever showed you this before. I'll tell you right now, the final trick is the one most seniors never hear about, and it may be the most powerful of all.
All right, Doctor, I'm ready. Let's start with trick number 1. And I want to say, for everyone listening, if you have been dealing with this for months or even years, pay very close attention to what comes next.
The first trick I call the median nerve glide. Now, the median nerve is the central nerve that runs from the neck, through the shoulder, down the forearm, and through a narrow passage in the wrist called the carpal tunnel, ending in the thumb and first 3 fingers. When this nerve is compressed or adhered to surrounding tissue, it cannot glide freely. It's like a rope that has been tied to the wall. Every time you move your arm, you feel the tension, the pins and needles, the numbness. Now, here's what most people do not know. The nerve can be physically moved through that tunnel with a specific sequence of gentle hand positions. The research behind this is well established. A study published in the Journal of Hand Surgery followed over 200 patients with carpal tunnel syndrome and found that those who performed daily nerve gliding exercises experienced significantly greater reduction in numbness and tingling compared to those using splints alone. The improvement was measurable within 6 to 8 weeks, but many patients report relief within the first session, and I've seen this in my own clinic consistently. Here's how to do it. Sit comfortably in a chair. Extend one arm straight out in front of you at shoulder height with the palm facing up toward the ceiling. Your fingers should be pointing straight forward. Now, slowly bend your wrist back so that your fingers point upward toward the ceiling, as if you're telling someone to stop. Hold this position for 5 to 7 seconds. Then, slowly lower the wrist so your fingers point downward toward the floor. Hold again for 5 to 7 seconds. Return to the flat, neutral position. That's 1 repetition. Do this 10 to 15 times on each hand, morning and evening. I had a patient once, a 71-year-old retired school teacher named Margaret. She had been waking up every night with both hands completely numb, needing to shake them out for several minutes before she could fall back asleep. She had seen 2 orthopedic surgeons who recommended cortisone injections. She came to me looking for an alternative. Within 3 weeks of doing this nerve glide sequence twice daily, she reported sleeping through the night without a single episode of numbness. We never did the injections. The nerve simply needed to be moved.
That is remarkable and so simple. Just moving the wrist in that controlled way. That's all it takes.
That's the key word, controlled. You're not stretching aggressively. You're creating a pumping action that moves the nerve gently back and forth through the tunnel, breaking up any adhesions and restoring its natural glide. Think of it like dental floss moving between 2 teeth. You're not forcing anything, you're gliding. And I want to add one practical detail that most guides leave out. The time of day matters. The most effective window to perform the nerve glide is in the morning within the first 30 minutes of waking. During sleep, especially when the wrist is bent inward, the carpal tunnel narrows and fluid accumulates slightly around the median nerve. This is precisely why hand tingling is so often worse first thing in the morning or in the middle of the night when you wake up needing to shake the hands out. If you perform the nerve glide immediately after rising, you're clearing that accumulated pressure before it can establish itself for the rest of the day. I also recommend a second session in the evening after any prolonged typing, writing, or handwork. The sequence takes under 2 minutes. There is no reason any senior can't add this to their morning routine beginning tomorrow.
So timing is part of the technique. That's the kind of detail that makes the difference between something that works and something that sort of works. All right, doctor. Trick number 2. You mentioned water, and I genuinely cannot imagine what is coming.
Good. I enjoy that reaction because this is one of those moments where Korean medicine surprises people with its elegance.
Yes. The second trick is what I call the thermal contrast flush. And this is rooted deeply in Korean medicine philosophy, which has always used temperature as a therapeutic tool, long before modern Western medicine began exploring vasodilation and vasoconstriction therapy. The principle is straightforward. When you alternate between warm and cool water on the hands, you create a pumping effect in the blood vessels. The warm water causes the small arteries to dilate, increasing blood flow into the fingers. The cool water causes them to contract, pushing the blood back toward the core. This alternation essentially exercises the vascular walls themselves, and for seniors whose peripheral circulation has slowed, this is one of the fastest ways to restore warmth, sensation, and nerve nourishment to the hands. A study published in the journal Circulation examined the effects of contrast hydrotherapy on peripheral blood flow in older adults. It found that 10 minutes of alternating thermal immersion increased microvascular circulation in the hands by more than 40% compared to baseline. That is not a small effect. That is a profound restoration of exactly what the aging hand needs. Here is the protocol. Fill 2 bowls, one with warm water, not hot, approximately 40 degrees Celsius, comfortably warm to the touch. One with cool water, not ice, just room temperature tap water. Immerse both hands in the warm water for 2 minutes, then move them to the cool water for 1 minute. Repeat this cycle 3 times, always ending in warm water. Do this once in the morning and once before bed. The entire process takes under 10 minutes. I had a patient, a 68-year-old retired accountant named Gerald, who had spent decades doing detailed bookkeeping with his hands. He came to me with constant tingling in the ring and little fingers of his right hand. a classic sign of ulnar nerve compression at the elbow. Along with some postural corrections, I recommended this contrast flush every morning. Within 2 weeks, his sensation had improved markedly. He described it as feeling like his hands had come back to life.
I love how simple that is. 2 bowls of water and 10 minutes. No equipment, no prescription, no waiting room. And it is working on the actual mechanism, not just masking the symptom. That is what strikes me about everything you teach, Doctor. You always go to the root. Doctor, before we move on to trick 3, I want to take a moment because conversations like this one are exactly why I started looking into a resource I came across a while back. It is called the Senior Body Reset After 60. I'll be honest with you, when I first found it, I was not expecting much, but it truly changed the way I think about what the body needs after 60. It covers exactly what we talk about on this show, how to reset your body's natural systems through daily habits, not medications. Better sleep, stronger circulation, sharper memory, more energy throughout the day. And it does all of this through practical, science-backed steps that seniors can actually apply. No complicated routines, no gym memberships required. If you are someone who listens to this show and thinks, I want to actually do something with this information, this is the resource I would point you toward. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment right below this video. Now, Doctor, let us keep going, because what comes next is something I think most people would never expect to hear from a physician.
The third trick involves what you eat, and this is where Korean medicine has a significant advantage over conventional approaches. In Korea, we have long understood that nerve health is nutritional health. You cannot separate the two. The nerve fibers that transmit sensation through your hands are protected by a sheath called myelin. Think of myelin like the plastic coating on an electrical wire. Without that coating, the signals short-circuit. The sensation becomes distorted. You feel numbness, burning, tingling. Now, what produces and maintains myelin in the body? Vitamin B12. And here's the problem. After 60, the stomach's ability to absorb B12 from food drops significantly due to a reduction in a protein called intrinsic factor. Many seniors are walking around with moderate B12 deficiency without knowing it, and their peripheral nerves are slowly degrading. Research published in JAMA Neurology examined over 2,000 adults over the age of 65 and found that those with B12 levels in the lowest third of the normal range were more than 3 times as likely to report chronic tingling and numbness in their hands and feet compared to those with adequate levels. 3 times. And this was not comparing deficient patients to normal patients. This was comparing the bottom third of normal to the top 2/3. So even people who test just barely in range may be experiencing nerve-related symptoms. The top Korean dietary sources of B12 include clams, oysters, mackerel, fermented fish, beef liver, and eggs. In Korean medicine, we have a soup called haemul janggol, a seafood stew loaded with clams and mussels that has been eaten for centuries. Now we understand why it may have protected nerve health. You don't need to eat haemul janggol, but you do need to eat animal protein regularly. A single serving of clams provides more than double the daily requirement. And for those who cannot consume shellfish, a good B12 supplement taken daily is the next best option. I recommend patients over 60 test their B12 levels annually and not accept a result that is merely within range. The optimal range for nerve protection is meaningfully higher than the minimum.
I had no idea the bar for what counts as sufficient could be so misleading. So the lab might say normal, but the nerves are still struggling.
Precisely. This is one of the most important things I tell my patients. Normal on paper is not the same as optimal in the body, and this matters enormously for the hands. Let me give you a concrete example. A patient came to me at age 66, a retired nurse named Dorothy, extremely health conscious, eating what she believed was a balanced diet. Her B12 was technically within normal laboratory range, but her hands had been tingling for a year, and she had begun dropping small objects without noticing, which is an early sign of sensory nerve degradation. We retested using a more sensitive marker called methylmalonic acid, which reveals functional B12 status more accurately than the standard serum test. Her levels were inadequate. We started her on a combination of dietary changes, more eggs, more fish, and a sublingual B12 supplement, which absorbs under the tongue and bypasses the intrinsic factor problem in the stomach entirely. Within 3 months, her symptoms were dramatically improved. Her grip strength returned. The tingling faded to nearly nothing. She told me it was the first time in over a year she had woken up with that crawling feeling in her fingers, and all we did was feed the nerves what they had been asking for.
That is such an important distinction. Normal on paper is not optimal in the body. I think that phrase is going to stay with me. That is such an important distinction, and it is one of those things that you would never know unless someone told you. All right, doctor, we have arrived at the 4th trick. You said this is the one most seniors never hear. I am ready.
The 4th trick is the one that surprises people the most because it has nothing to do with the hands themselves. It has to do with the neck, specifically the position of your head relative to your spine, and I call it the cervical alignment correction. Here's what is happening in many seniors who experience persistent hand tingling. The cervical vertebrae, particularly the ones between the 5th and 7th cervical levels, are developing small bony outgrowths called osteophytes. This is part of normal aging after 60. It's called cervical spondylosis. And for a significant percentage of older adults, these bony formations are pressing on the nerve roots that travel directly down into the arms, wrists, and fingers. Every time the head moves forward, even slightly, the compression increases, and the head of a typical senior has shifted 2 to 4 centimeters forward of its ideal position due to years of screen use, reading posture, and the natural forward pull of daily tasks. The Lancet Neurology published a study following patients with cervical spondylotic myelopathy, which is the compression of nerves caused by cervical degeneration, and found that more than 60% of patients over 60 with hand tingling had significant cervical nerve root compression as the contributing or co-cause of their symptoms. Not a wrist problem, a neck problem presenting in the hands. So here is the correction. Every morning, every afternoon, and every evening, I want you to perform what I call the chin tuck. Sit upright with your back against a firm chair. Without tilting your chin upward or downward, slide your head directly backward. Imagine someone is pressing gently on your nose and asking you to retract your head into your neck. You'll feel a gentle stretch along the back of your neck. Hold that position for 5 seconds. Release. Repeat 10 times. That's it. No special equipment, no gym, no chiropractor required. This gentle retraction moves the cervical vertebrae into a more neutral alignment, reducing the pressure on the nerve roots that feed into the arm and hand. I had a patient, a 74-year-old retired engineer named Robert, who had spent his entire career hunched over blueprints and technical drawings. He came to me with tingling in the thumb and first 2 or 3 fingers of the right hand that had persisted for nearly 3 years. Multiple neurologists had focused entirely on his wrist. We did a cervical assessment. His forward head posture was severe. We added the chin tuck 3 times daily and made no other changes. Within 4 weeks, his tingling had reduced by more than half. By week 8, it was largely gone. His wrist was never the problem. His neck was.
That story genuinely gives me pause. 3 years of chasing the wrong answer when the real one was this simple. And I think about how many seniors right now are going from specialist to specialist with no one looking upstream to the neck.
It is far more common than people realize. In my experience, roughly 1 in 3 seniors who come to me with persistent hand tingling have a significant cervical component that no one has properly assessed. The wrist is treated, the nerve conduction study is ordered, the elbow is examined, and the neck, which sits at the top of the entire nerve chain, is the last place anyone looks. I want seniors to remember this.
If your tingling is in the thumb and first 2 or 3 fingers, the median nerve and carpal tunnel are the usual suspects. Yes, but if the tingling extends through the entire hand, or if it is accompanied by any neck stiffness, any aching between the shoulder blades, or any sensation that travels down the arm from the shoulder, the cervical spine must be assessed. And the chin tuck is a safe, gentle daily practice that improves cervical alignment for almost everyone over 60, regardless of the cause of their symptoms.
So even if someone is not sure whether their neck is involved, the chin tuck is something they can begin safely today.
Absolutely. I have never had a patient experience any negative effect from this exercise. It is gentle, it is supported by decades of physiotherapy research, and for the significant percentage of seniors whose hand symptoms originate in the neck, it is genuinely life-changing. The exercise costs nothing, requires nothing, and can be done in any chair, in any room, at any time of day.
Look upstream. Do not just chase the symptom. That is the kind of thinking that completely reframes how you approach your own health, and I think that principle applies far beyond the hands. That is the kind of thinking that changes everything. Doctor, let me try to bring it all together before we close. We have 4 tricks. Number 1, the median nerve glide. Extend the arm, slowly bend the wrist back and forward, 10 to 15 repetitions each hand, morning and evening. Number 2, the thermal contrast flush. 2 bowls of water, alternate warm and cool, 3 cycles, once in the morning and once before bed. Number 3, feed the myelin. Check your B12, prioritize shellfish, eggs, and animal protein, and do not accept barely normal as good enough. And number 4, the chin tuck. Retract the head directly backward 10 times, 3 times a day to decompress the cervical nerve roots that may be the true source of the hand symptoms.
That is exactly right. And I want to add one thing that ties all 4 together. The body after 60 is not broken. It is asking for more targeted attention. These 4 tricks work precisely because they address the real mechanisms of hand numbness and tingling: the nerve compression, the circulation restriction, the nutritional deficiency, the postural misalignment. Most people are never told about even one of these mechanisms. We have given you all 4 today.
That brings everything full circle, Doctor. And what I find most powerful about today's conversation is that there is not a single thing on this list that costs money or requires a medical appointment. These are actions, and people at home can start within the next 5 minutes if they want to.
That is the heart of what Korean medicine has always taught. The most powerful healing is not given to you by a doctor. It is done by you, consistently with awareness. Health after 60 is not about dramatic interventions. It's about understanding what the body is asking for and answering that question every single day.
Dr. Henry Lee, the final word goes to you. If you could leave our listeners with one thought from today, what would that thought be?
Your hands have been working for you every single day of your life. Every meal you cooked, every letter you wrote, every hand you held. They deserve the same care you would give to any faithful companion. Start today with 10 minutes and 2 bowls of water, with a single chin tuck in your chair, with one good meal that feeds your nerves. Small acts practiced with consistency. That is the oldest medicine in the world.
Thank you so much, Doctor. And thank you to everyone watching and listening. If you found value in today's episode, please share it with someone you care about who's been quietly struggling with this. It might be the most important thing they hear this week. We'll see you in the next episode right here at the Elderly Health Physician. Take care of yourselves, and remember the slogan we close with every time: small changes, lasting results. Let's grow old strong, together.